Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, and people join us probably as they can. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dan St. John with Oasis Solutions, and we're going to cover today what is kind of a seldom used tool that's been in Sage for at least 15 years, maybe closer to 20 years now, but for whatever reason, and many people haven't picked up on this or realize some of the power behind this. If some of you have ever tried to run a Sage Crystal report and tried to export into Excel or something like that, you'll realize that you get spotty results at best. Come in here, export data only type situation here. And I always do application myself, click OK, maintain column alignment, maintain object position. And you come up with kind of results that leave a little bit to be desired. A lot of times you have to come in there and then you have to kind of space everything out and play with it a little bit to find out just something what you want. You do have a tendency to have what we call column shift, where your subtotals can shift over a column or two because in exporting to Excel, whenever you have blank spaces to the left, it has a tendency to want to shift everything over. So you have other ways of extracting data in Sage, and that is called the explore function. All of the major modules in Sage have an explore function. The exceptions would be like payroll and bank rec. They don't have an explore function. Job costs does have it. They just recently added that not too long ago. But in these explore functions, they're essentially basically going to be data dumps. Okay, you come in here. I can list and vendors, vendor listing, all the vendor invoices, open invoices, vendor payments. So I'm going to start out with kind of like playing something that we commonly do with open invoices in AP. Come on, let's go. Okay. Come on. Okay. So vendor open invoices view. Okay, and you're presented with all this information in a table format. We have in the top part of the screen, you have all the what we call the header information in Sage terms. And then in the lower portion of the screen, you have what's called the detail portion of the screen of the information presented. So here you have invoice, the division number, the vendor, the name, so on and so forth. You have over here a little icon, it's a bunch of parallel lines, looks like a ledger, and you can put in here and you can delete information that you don't find useful. Say, let's make this kind of basic here. Text, last text, and then comment maybe. I can rearrange columns to basically give me, let's move this over here. Okay, and then put it in any order I like. Okay, so another thing is, on the bottom right-hand column, you do have a button that says Filter Builder, and come in here. And right now it comes out of the box filtered as balance is greater than 0, but you may or may not want to show any credits due you from your vendor. So I come in here and does not equal 0. You can put any number that appears there, click OK. And then now I've got all balances, whether it's a greater than or less than 0. Everybody with me on that part of it? So from here, I can further divide it as to put everything divisions. I can drag my divisions up here into my header column here, and I'm going to drag my vendors up here also. So now, if you can see here, I've got everything, all my vendors, I've got everything segregated and grouped, if you will, by a particular vendor. The next thing would be to come up in here. I'm going to right click and group summary footer. And I've added a little space added in here. I can come in here and right click and do a sum. So now for each vendor, I have a subtotal for everything that I owe them. Okay. Another thing that I like to do come in here, sometimes it's useful to find out, well, do I have a lot of vendors? So I have how many records do I have for that particular vendor? I have 2 open invoices for this vendor. I have 4 for this vendor. Okay. And then basically just a way initially of organizing it. And then when I've got it pretty much the way I want to have it, I'll come up here, I'll click on my diskette, and I'll call it, I'll just open payables. Open payables, okay. And I can make this a public setting, which most anybody that has access to the Explore function can see it. Or if I do it as a private setting, it means only I will see it and anybody that has what's called supervisor rights within the Sage security role maintenance. Okay, so I'm going to make this a public setting. And then when I come up here, I see a different setting. I have my standard, which was basically everything out of the box, and my open payables. So you can mix and match and kind of design this any different way, many different ways to suit your needs and what you want to do, and have several different versions of the open payables. And listed, you can just cut straight to the chase. If I want to make the open payables my default, then all I have to do is click on this button right here. So I'm going to come out of here, and then I'm going to come back in here to vendor open invoices view. And it defaults to the standard. I move over to open payables, and I'm going to click here and make it my default, so that when I do, come on, come on back in here, open payables, invoices view, it comes straight to the report that I want to be my default. Okay, so that's one of the primary things here. It's not an aging report, but at least it tells me what do I have open for this particular vendor. And now one of the primary uses of the Explore function is I can export it to Excel. So I come up here to File, Export Options, and export it to Excel. That's one I use. I hardly ever export it to Access or Word, but export to Excel. And this function will export properly. Now, the only thing you miss will be the, let me do it this way here. So come in here, and then auto size my column. So the only thing you miss when you export to Excel is the formatting. So if you grouped it by vendor, by division, it will not export to Excel the groupings. The idea is that once you come into Excel, you can, your own Excel skills can take over. Let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm going to say insert pivot table. Okay, I'm going to insert this to a new worksheet. Okay, and then I just come in here to division, maybe vendor, invoice date. And just for the sake of brevity here, I'll open it up here. And days, months, quarters like that. Come over here. Um, oops. Come in here, and then I'll come up here to design, and I'll say, give it to me in a tabular form, and basically show how you want to do it. Come in here. I usually take away my invoices for the vendors. I usually come in here, field settings, and the vendor, and I like to show my subtotals by vendor at the top, and then everything underneath it. Any questions so far? If you have any questions, just kind of put your hand up, and or just type it in the chat window, and I'll see it at some point, and come here. So just come in here, flavor it a little bit. Maybe I prefer to do it like this. Um, and in no time, I can turn this into a readable report just using basic Excel skills. I've always maintained that you do not have to have super duper Excel skills. If you do happen to have some Superman Excel skills, then you'd be so much the better, better off on this. So that is one of my primary tools here. Okay, so let's come back in here. I'm going to come back over to this. Okay, and I'm going to come out of here, and I don't need my Excel anymore type situation, but here, and vendor history invoices. So you can come in here, and right off the bat, it's going to give you everything. When you're going to the standard, it's going to give you everything. So for those of you that have been using Sage for 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years type situation, it's going to give you all the information it has in the history file, depending how your settings are. Okay. So then, like I said, this is where I come in here and I change it around to see to meet the needs that I have and the styling needs that I want to present. Okay. Another scenario is in the general ledger. Okay. Those of you that have talked to me before and support things like that know that I'm a big fan of the Sage Intelligence tool. However, if you don't have the Sage Intelligence tool or not interested, you can always come in here to General Ledger, Explore, and you have this one here, which is your account view, list of your chart of accounts, the full format account, the main account code, and everything. Come over here to get rid of those things that you don't need. A roll-up code, maybe get rid of that. Account group, and whatever is appropriate for you, whatever your needs are. Date created, maybe. So we're see, and you see as I eliminate items, that it disappears from the screen automatically. Okay, and then you get that you want to save it, so just give it a name. Oops, give it a name, and you have that. But another really useful tool, move out of the way, is account transactions. So you come in here for the GL account transactions, and by default, I have the source journal, the journal register number, account number, subscription, posting date, source journal, and say usually the only thing I see that here that I usually like to add would be the posting comment. Okay. Then, as I mentioned before, you have your complete history in the GL. So a lot of times what comes in handy is you come into the filter builder, click on this button, and I'm going to say my posting date is between, and let's just say January 1st, 2025, and December 21st, 2025. And so I got the entire entire year of 2025. And I just get to come up here, save it, and give it a name. Geo detail. And I usually end up creating several of these, one for each year, so that when I'm coming in here, I don't waste a lot of time. With if I got to load a lot of data, I just load the data that I need. Okay. Then from there, I can come in here and group it by account number. I'm going to right click summary footer. Then here, I'm going to come in here, right click and Summit, and right click and Summit, so that now I got subtotals of all my debits and my credits. Okay. And I save it, anything I did there, and then I can always export it to Excel, which is what happens 90% of the time, at least. Excel. And then now you're doing some analysis on your general ledger, reconciliation. Like I'm working with a couple customers that are reconciling bank transactions and like that, so I can match up the GL transactions to the bank register or something like that. And it's a lot of help, because I can always come up here and say, okay, well, I checked it off, it's yellow, and move on to the next item. Okay, so this is what I consider one of the most useful tools in Sage 100. However, it's seldom used. I don't see a lot of it people being used, and when they use it, they just kind of, okay, well, just this and that type situation. But in my opinion, is an extremely powerful tool in Sage. Okay, so what I wanted to do here is I wanted to open it up to post any questions or raise your hand. Okay, yeah, welcome Danielle, Rhonda, Derek, and you can post it, raise your hand, or you can just post something into the Q&A, and I'm happy to address any questions. No questions? Oh, yeah, let's see what we got here. Job cost, sure. Okay, so we're going to come out of here. I can get this to get out of the way. Come on, move up. Move it out of the way here, and then, okay, so job cost here. Come down to the bottom, explore. The job view is a list of all the jobs, cost code detail, all your cost code history, your billing history, if you're billing through job cost, and transaction detail. Yeah, it's coming here. It's probably going to be the most complicated. Okay, let me change my company here. So company here, and my job cost company, which I think is the electric company. Okay, so here, this is a list of all the jobs. Did you have anything in particular in the job cost you wanted to see, or just wanted to see what was available to you? And once again, you can come in here. You can group your job based upon status or customers applied to. Here's a list of all the fields that are available to you. However, there's one thing I didn't show you before. If you are looking for something here, you want to have a field that you do not see on here. Come up to any of my header tabs or my title tabs, right click, and go to column settings. And then there's everything right there. But interesting here, I can click on the add function, and I've got two tables that are attached to this particular view. If the field I want is not in one of these two tables, I cannot add it to the view. Okay, but it's typically a fair amount of information is available to you to kind of customize this as whatever suits best to you. So let's say here, okay, customer number. Okay, just for grins, I'm going to come in here and do the customer name. Okay, you can modify the title up here and click OK, and the customer name will have been added at the very end. So I can always drag it over and just ultimately place it wherever I want to. Any questions on that part? So you also have Costco transaction detail view. And this gives you everything here, the cost codes and something. This has already been kind of formatted a little bit for you to help you out. So the job number, all the cost codes involved where the with this, and then cost types. Okay, say job cost code history view. Just kind of bring this in here. So job number, sorting it here, cost code, cost type, AR division, and AP division, I'm sorry, and the vendor number. And then once again, export options, Excel. And you got there, and then format it. And you've got, somewhat decent report that you can play with. Okay, have a couple more questions. Did I answer the question about the job cost, Rhonda? Job cost detail, okay, and filter by job type. Okay, so let's come out of here. And job cost detail. So I have job number, cost code, bill rate, units like that, so on and so forth, cost type. I don't see a job type. If I got your question correctly, yeah, filter by job type. So I come up here and I'm going to right click column settings, and I'm going to add. And cost type. So job number, cost type. I think I heard cost type. Cost type's already in there. Is this what you mean? Cost type mean what you meant by job type, or am I missing something here? Filter by job type. So is this job type and the cost type the same thing you're talking about? Job type. Okay. Not the same. Okay, cool. So let me see if I can find it. So under job cost code detail, I don't see job type, so I'll come out of here and cost type. So in this case, if I don't see what I'm looking for here, then um, I cannot add the field. Then there is no way, not even custom office can I use to add that into that part of it. Did I help you with that or cause more confusion? Okay. So once again, I would encourage you to come and get in here. You can't really hurt anything. If you mess it up, fine, just delete it and start it over. If you customize it, save it, and then you decide you don't like it later, then just delete that one and start over, or um, modify it and then save it again. Okay. Accounts receivable. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to show you. So let's look at the customer invoice history. When you are, I'm in the wrong company. So let me come back to my distribution company. And I'm going to accounts receivable. Come to explore customer history invoices view. Now, when you're exporting, when you want to export, you're only going to export what is in the top half of the main window here. However, if you notice, if you highlight, okay, my ABC company doesn't have a, let's say ABC, let me try MFG ABC here. Okay, you'll see here, you have all the header information on the top, and down below, you have, okay, what was on this invoice? Okay, come over here. You have the other thing on the invoice. If you have a desire to work with the details instead of all the header information, all you have to do is come in here, double click, and it's going to change everything and move the detail information up to the top half. However, it is filtered based upon the invoice number you're looking at. So I would do all. And okay, so I'm coming here. Okay, unfilter this here. Yeah. So now I've got the details of everything, all the items on every invoice. So a lot of times what you might want to do is once you convert this to your detail view, you can add the customer number. So let's say I don't see what I want in here. So I'm going to come right here, right click, column settings, add, and invoice history header. And I'll just say the, okay, because I had divisions here, add, detail, and then I'm going to do the customer number. Not detail, excuse me, header, and the customer number. Okay, so now I have everything in here. I can start sorting it maybe by customer and division, customer number, invoice number, and so you can kind of really let your imagination go at the on the Excel side of this. So very important. If you want to see, the detail instead of the header, just double click on any of the invoices, and then you'll be good. Any other questions? Looks like I've overstayed my welcome here a couple minutes here. So, so if you do have some questions, I'm happy to hang around a little bit. If nobody has any questions, we can call it a day. And I do thank you for taking time out of your day to attend this lunch and learn using the Sage 100 Explore function. Try it. I think you'll like it. Everyone, have a good day.